everyone. Welcome to episode 78 of the Trading Without Borders podcast. So today I have a special guest with me. I'm going to be introducing to you. And so we are here speaking to you from Lagos and Malawi. I have here with me Precious DI Phiri, who is going to be speaking about the AfCFTA Symposium that held last week. He's going to be sharing some insights with us. But before we go right away, let me just introduce Precious to us. So Precious is a visionary social entrepreneur and the founder of AWAWO, a social enterprise that meticulously creates sustainable and ethical interior products to aid sustainable living and lifestyle. As a year advisor to the International Trade Center in Malawi, he empowers youth entrepreneurs to transform their ideas into scalable and sustainable businesses that makes a positive impact. He is also a passionate advocate for entrepreneurship, youth and women empowerment through trade, the AfCFTA and regional integration. He has been a vocal and influential speaker at various international platforms where he has championed the youth voice on AfCFTA policies. AWAWO continues to spread impact by promoting growth and use of bamboo while creating jobs for youth and women in the value chain. Having exported a few times, AWAWO is preparing itself for the intra-African market in 5 identified African markets. So let's welcome Precious this episode. For the youth, you can see that we have a very strong advocate of the youth with us this afternoon. So Precious, welcome to the Trading Without Borders podcast. So can you say hello to us in Malawi or the language that we, yes, so in Malawian language. Thank you. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Umubola, for having me. Mulibwanji. So Mulibwanji means how are you? Hello everywhere where you're listening to this podcast. My name is Precious DI Phiri, and I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Precious. So Precious, I was going to say talk about the AfCFTA, but I feel we have so much about what it is about. But I'm just going to, can you share your AfCFTA journey with us? So for any youth that is listening to us right now or going to be listening later, sometime in the future, can you just share your journey with us before we go into the insights of the symposium that held last week?
Oh, thank you so much. So I, as you earlier introduced me, I founded AWAWO. So I founded it in 2020, and by 20, then COVID was there, and by 2021, we had suffered a lot to the extent of closing not closing per se, but pausing the business for some time. And as we were going to 2022, I was thinking of export markets, and I started, contacting people online. And then I got some opportunity for me to export in early 2022 through an organization that I was an alumni. It's an entrepreneurship program organization called Because International, and we by January we had exported our accessories to US. And then we in 2022 were in the course of changing our business model. At first, we were making one product that's bamboo reusable drinking reusable straws, and now because of COVID, we suffered and we thought of pivoting. So we did that, and in the course of changing our business model. By April, we had exported, I think, 3 times, and then my interest was more of how can I increase these opportunities, because they were very lucrative opportunities. We got some good sales, and the markup was quite good, but also the idea of having a wider market for ourselves and our products. Then that's when I discovered Africa Continental Free Trade Area in my course of pursuing ambitions of export. In June, in 2022 June, I got the opportunity to attend one conference by United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, to go and have contribute to my voice on Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And then since then, I started following up on Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and the opportunities that it presents for my business and the youth in Africa.
Thank you, Precious, for that. So what one thing I picked really well, that how can I increase these opportunities? It was in your quest to pivot during the COVID and some other challenges that occurred in your business, and in the process of trying to pursue your ambitions of export, which is how you discovered the AfCFTA. And since then, you've been a very strong advocate of AfCFTA. You've been moving towards it. So thank you for that, Precious. So for any youth that is listening in Africa, like, how can I get into this thing? What is it about? So can we let's just go right into the AfCFTA Symposium that held last week. Yes, it was focused on the youth, of course, trying to provide a platform for engagement between the young entrepreneurs and policymakers on AfCFTA, to see how the AfCFTA will work for the youths, amongst others. So can you just share some insight about the symposium? So we are going to look at what are the learning, what are the challenges for the youth, and what are the action points that the youths can start in order to leverage the opportunity. There are challenges, there are opportunities. So what do they need to do to leverage opportunities that the AfCFTA presents? So can you share some insights about the symposium? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, there was the AfCFTA Youth Symposium, the first of its kind, that happened in Zambia this month. I think that was a great opportunity for young people on the continent to discuss about the things that affect them, especially the youth in trade. But I think one thing that I always say, and I have to say today, is that AfCFTA means export, and AfCFTA means business. And I think, policies, favorable policies, and from government and other partners, all we have to do right now is to make sure that we create policies conducive for youth and women, and in this case, the young people. And I'm glad that conference happened, because I could see some of the questions which little questions posed to the authorities, to the policymakers about what we can do. But just to dive into the challenges, I think right now the main challenge that we are facing as young people in trade is information. So there's information gap about the AfCFTA. We need, in order to trade, you need to know what export market is. You need to have an export strategy. You need, to have the resources that will be able to, will make you be able to export and others. So information has been the major challenge in AfCFTA, and I've seen it being addressed, but it's not quite enough. But it's on our it's for us youth to actually be able to disseminate that information and allow more youth to come on the table and prepare themselves for export and export as well. So the challenges are infrastructure. We do have poor infrastructure in Africa in terms of logistics, but also in terms of production. You're talking of electricity, reliable electricity. You're talking of loads and just everything in the value chain, and also the issue to do with finance. Finance is very, very crucial for export markets, and I think that's also one thing that we are trying to solve as a business to grow our capacity in order to be able to tap into the markets that we are looking at. And another thing is the youth are afraid of the risks that come with exporting in general, but also the trade barriers and the tariffs that are there. And I'm glad that AfCFTA is in to solve this gradually. And then let me quickly talk about
Hello, Precious. Okay, yes, I can.
Yeah. Okay, sure. And then there are a lot of opportunities under AfCFTA. So talking of having a wider market.
Sorry, Precious. Before we go into the opportunity, just to do a summary of the challenges that you have mentioned now. You spoke on information challenges. You've spoken about you need to know if you export strategy and the rest of it. You've also mentioned infrastructure, financing, and you spoke the last one. You said fear of the elites, or I didn't get that clearly. Can you repeat what you said? You said something about fear. The youth fear.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. So I was talking about the risks that come with export trade. So there's a lot of fear that comes with the export trade. I think.
You mean the list that comes with export trade, like getting into the export? It seems like it's overwhelming for the youths. They have the fear that can they actually do this? I guess that's what you're trying to say.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So we'll go into the challenge, but just for me, like I always say, when people talk about the information challenge, I think that's a major thing for most Africans. What I was saying is that Precious had mentioned that there are information challenges concerning the AfCFTA, infrastructure, financing, and fear of getting into the export market. But like I always tell people when they say, yes, we don't know what the AfCFTA, there are quite a number of people that have been trying to just provide information on what the AfCFTA is about. And just a brief summary, like AfCFTA is about creating a single market for Africans to trade with each other. So you have access to like 54 African countries. You can trade. So what the AfCFTA, what policymakers are trying to do, to remove the barriers that are hindering Africans from trading with each other easily. So that's basically what it is. So you can trade in goods and services amongst other protocols of it. So what we have done here, so Precious has identified challenges. We have the information gap, we have infrastructure, which that's been addressed, and we have financing, and that's been also addressed by the AfrEximbank, the AU, and the AfCFTA sector, amongst other organizations. So Precious will move into the challenges. So for you at the AK, if you want to get into it right now, yes, there are challenges, but Precious is going to move into the opportunities for you and how to get into it and to get yourself to start, prepare yourself to start trading on that AfCFTA. So Precious.
Thank you. So there are various opportunities under AfCFTA. We have, for the first time, a wider market in Africa. That's a very amazing thing to see happening in Africa. Someone said it's more easier to export from Malawi to Greece than it is exporting from Malawi, let's say, to Nigeria or Morocco, or maybe any other country. But then I think we had for so long we have been subjected to challenges such as these the barriers, trade barriers, tariffs, and all these, and it was very difficult for one to get a product from Malawi to another country. So right now, the African continent and the African countries are opening up borders in a way that they are reducing trade barriers and tariffs gradually for us young people to be able to trade. And then we're also talking about under AfCFTA, there's transfer of technology and skills. I think just by networking and by just excuse me, by just opening up our borders, we are able to transfer the technology. People will be able to learn different skills from one another. I can go to Rwanda and learn a skill. I can go to in another country and learn a skill and be able to collaborate. So another thing is collaboration. This will enhance collaboration among African countries and African youth in particular. We have seen now lots of collaboration among people who are in technology startups, and soon we'll be able to see more collaboration between African youth in different types of businesses that will be able to change lives on the continent. And AfCFTA will also be able to grow local value chains, because when with us at Awao, what we are trying to do is to be able to take everyone in the value chain, the bamboo and cane and craft value chain, be able to gather people who are weavers, be able to gather people who into just preparation of bamboo, the growing of bamboo. So this will strengthen the local value chains in the country. So as youth, I think youth should be prepare themselves for AfCFTA, which isn't in full operation now, but we have seen the guided trade initiative, governments trading amongst each other right now, and the implementation is going at a faster rate. And if we can be able to prepare ourselves, we'll be able to seize opportunities from African continental free trade area. But I should say, youth must be clear on their export goals. They must have an export strategy. They must be able to say, okay, within this time frame, how can we be able to meet our ambitions? Something that we are doing right now.
Thank you, Precious. So for the youths, Precious has mentioned that AfCFTA gives you opportunity for skills transfer. You are able to collaborate with other African youths in respect of in different areas of businesses. The tech startups are already doing that. You can learn new skills in any African country if you want to move in there. So that's another opportunity. And there are value chain opportunities as well in different areas, and maybe in manufacturing. And they had also mentioned examples of what they are doing in Awao. That's his business. There are weavers and there are various workers along that value chain. So for him, what he's saying is that get yourself ready. And just like he said, how did he get into it? It was because they were trying to pivot during the challenges of COVID. And in that process, he discovered the AfCFTA, and since then he hasn't looked back. You need to have a mind of, I want to trade outside of Africa. I'm sorry, outside of my country, not Africa. Sorry about that. I want to be able to trade in other African countries. I want to offer my products and or services. Even if you don't have goods, you don't deal in goods, you can offer services. There is a platform for creatives, that's Canex under the AfCFTA, that's the for intra-African trade. So there are different areas that different things go on the internet, digital skills, learn digital skills, and able to offer your services online. So anyone from any from any of the African countries can reach out to you for you to provide the service, or you can also collaborate in diverse aspects concerning that. And he has also mentioned the guided trade initiative. That's more like a test to see the functionality of the AfCFTA. So there are some countries that have started trading. The AfCFTA Secretariat is testing that to see how the AfCFTA works, so that they are able to address challenges that may come up when all the AfCFTA member countries start trading fully. So so you need to prepare yourself, learn skills, the skills that are needed to provide services across border. Services within your country, the skills you require is different from you providing it across border. So you probably need to go into upskill and learn that, or even need in respect of if you're dealing products, you need to be able to get that. You need to research more, try and get information. There are various aspects of information that people are sharing online. This podcast is one of it. What I do is just to break down what the AfCFTA is about, explain it, share updates, latest updates on it. This is just an opportunity for everyone to pick and see the one that is relevant for you and how you can plug into it and leverage the opportunities that the AfCFTA has for you. And so, Precious, before I let you go, what recommendations do you have also for policymakers? I know yes, quite a number was shared last week at the symposium, but for you, maybe any recommendations for policymakers, recommendations for youths, so that way everyone can take this back. Now, what do we need to start doing? From, like I said, information gap, you need that. Go on the internet and get information. Yes, we know that there are people involved in cross-border trade that may not have access, or maybe not be able to get digital information, get some form of information. But I know the government, there are different programs, different arrangements on how to reach everyone. But so, Precious, do you have that?
Thank you. I want to start with the recommendations from at the listen tree held AfCFTA Youth Symposium. I think we need to, as policymakers, they need to look into the information. Various mechanisms on how they can accelerate information and fill information gaps. But and another thing is access to finance. It's a big challenge. And then if we can address that, gradually it will help African youth to have the capacity to export, and also harmonization of standards. I know most standards are not harmonized in Africa, and that poses a challenge in another country that you're exporting to. And also we should have some speed in terms of having to implement some standards, because the reason I'm saying this is their products. Young people are creative. I've seen lots of young people on the continent who are creative. I've interacted with most of them. They are bringing in new products, new services, which are very sophisticated, and they will need standards. They go to a standard body and they tell them we do not have this standard. For instance, when we were making our bamboo reusable straws, we needed certification, but we were told to wait, and because they did not have standards, and that's a challenge because we won't be able to sell in another country. So that's one of the things that we faced, and if we could be able to also quicken on our other quicken our standardization processes. That would be better, and also look at the infrastructure, in-country infrastructure, such as access to electricity, the loads, and that could be able to make production easier. Let me just quickly talk to young people. I think what we need to do now is to get ready, prepare ourselves for export market. So we could be able to look at in readiness. We could be able to look at the logistics. How can we? What are the logistical challenges and opportunities that exist in there? Getting this information from our trade institutions in our countries, but also familiarize yourself. With the rules of origin and the AfCFTA, preparing to meet the standards for intra-African trade, and also do some market research and development about your products, because there are products. There may be products in your country which may not do better in your country, but they may do better in Uganda, for instance. So that's important. I think there's also, I talked about fear. I've seen some companies in Malawi which are mostly 100% exporting. We could be able to say in our export strategy, this is where I want to go. This is what we want to do. We'll be exporting this much, and we'll be selling in country this much, or we can be an export-only business. So there's no harm in doing that. And also look at in our market research, you should be able to pinpoint the people or companies which we can be able to collaborate with or supply to. Talk to them. Don't be afraid, and also be able to seek some trade finance products and services available to us in our countries, and also be able to leverage on e-commerce. We should be able to say when we are having an export strategy, and this is how we want to present ourselves digitally, because someone in Uganda, for someone in Uganda to see to have the trust and to see our product and to be convinced, they will go online to see my product, and that's very important. And then yes, be prepared.
Okay. Thank you so much, Precious, for staying with us today to share the opportunities and challenges of AfCFTA for the youth, and how the youths can leverage the opportunities provided by the AfCFTA. And he has also stated that we should start getting ourselves ready, prepare ourselves to start trading. There are vast opportunities under the AfCFTA. Some products, you might have a product or services which might not move in your country, but you can offer that in another African country. So those are ways that you need to start opening up your mind to start preparing yourself. And you can also, if you feel you don't have the capacity, collaborate with colleagues, other youths in other African countries to provide the services or the products which you deal with. And for the for our policymakers, as I said, the youths are very innovative and creative. So standards, the policymakers need to be quick and work very fast in respect of standardization. So that is not also delaying the youths and the business of the youth. And it's not just for the ones that are into entrepreneurship or businesses. If your career, you can be a career, you might want to switch, move to another African country to start working there. There are also provisions for that is being discussed as well. The policymakers are discussing all of that, and when that information is ready, we'll definitely share more on the podcast. And so you can listen to. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Precious. Thank you for sharing your time with us this afternoon. Well, that's for everyone that is listening. Maybe you are listening maybe morning, afternoon, but we are here afternoon, Lagos, Nigeria. Precious is in Malawi. So thank you everyone for listening. And you can also listen to other episodes of the podcast to get more details, their insight on what the AfCFTA is. And until next week, Precious, are you going to say bye-bye to us in Malawi?
Yes, I would say Zikomo. Zikomo means thank you to our listeners wherever you are. I'm excited. This has been excited, and thank you, Mobola, for the platform. This is a very, very important platform for youth and women in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Precious. And until next week, I say to all the listeners, bye-bye.